there's not much sympathy in the BBC for Huw Edwards today, but we do know that he's not in a particularly good place. As you mentioned, he's reportedly split with his wife, who's a TV producer, living in southwest London, and yeah, he finds himself in a pretty tough place this morning.
The former BBC newsreader Huw Edwards has pleaded guilty to 3 charges of making indecent images of children. He appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court this morning, charged with the offences which relate to images shared on WhatsApp between December 2020 and April 2022. Well, joining us now is the Times media correspondent Alex Farber. Alex, what specifically now, by pleading guilty, has Huw Edwards admitted to doing?
So what Huw Edwards shockingly admitted earlier today was that he has viewed 41 indecent images of children, including 2 moving images, with, as you heard on the headlines there, some, believed to be as young as 7. This took place between December 2020 and August 2021. 36 of them were sent during an 8-week period, and these images, there was 7 which were the most severe of all images under law. So it really was quite shocking, surprising, and he pled guilty to all of the charges.
And what happens next?
So we are now, the magistrate requested a probation report. They said that they wanted to know more. He said, I beg your pardon, he said that he wanted to know more about Edwards, about his motivation, the risk of reoffending, more about his mental health. He wants that delivered by the middle of September. And there's also to consider sentencing, which the magistrate said may not be within his power to do, depending on the length of the sentence.
And that would have to be referred to a higher court, because, as I understand it, in the Category A section, the penalty could be as much as 10 years in prison.
Yeah, that's right. As we said, these are very serious images, and they do carry jail sentences, and it may not be that a magistrate has sufficient power to sentence for long enough if that's the choice they choose to give.
And what have we learnt about Huw Edwards' personal circumstances? Reports in the newspaper that he's separated from his wife.
Yeah, I mean, he's long spoken about his mental health. He was suspended from the BBC a year ago over a separate incident revealed by the Sun newspaper, in which he was exchanging messages with a young person. He was suspended. He then resigned from the BBC on citing mental health in April. So, look, I mean, there's not much sympathy in the BBC for Huw Edwards today, but we do know that he's not in a particularly good place. As you mentioned, he's reportedly split with his wife, who's a TV producer, living in southwest London, and yeah, he finds himself in a pretty tough place this morning.
And are there questions for the BBC to answer about how they treated him? He did stay on their payroll until quite recently.
Yeah, there certainly are questions for the BBC. So what do we know? I mean, in the last few days, it's emerged that Edwards was arrested in November and subsequently charged around 4 weeks ago. Now, none of that came to light until this week. What's not clear is whether BBC bosses were informed by Edwards about his arrest, whether he was under any obligation to do so, and indeed whether he did do so. Now, if he did let them know about the arrest and the charges, then there is questions. Well, certainly the arrest, he'd already left by the time the charges were made, it's worth saying. But if he did let them know about his arrest, which took place in November, several months before he resigned, then there will be questions to face about why it was continuing to pay him. He was its highest paid newsreader last year, with a significant 6-figure salary, which he continued to earn while he was suspended.
Alex Farber, Times media editor, thank you very much indeed.
Right again! about the paedophilia at the BBC, Hugh? No.
To the BBC, Mr. Edwards. Any comment whatsoever? We're supposed to be a journalist. You've got no comments at all. Would it not be appropriate to apologise? Why are you not apologising?
Mr. Edwards, will you repent? Off the road.
I wish so. This car's gone flat.
Go back, please. Go back.
Come on.
Keep moving, please. Keep moving.
Move back, please. Come on. Come on, move backwards, please.
You turn around.
Backwards. Come on, guys. We need backwards.
Any comment, Mr. Edwards?
Come on, I
Keep
don't
going.
think you got
Any comment? Do you have anything to say, Mr. Edwards?
one. Right, come on, backwards, backwards. No, it's right there.
Stop the paedophilia at the BBC.
Any comment, Mr. Edwards?
Turn around. You call the public order up with disrepute.
Any comment whatsoever?
What do you have to say? Pleaded guilty on 3 counts.
Appropriate to apologise.
Make way! Stop pushing! Stop pushing!
Mr. Edwards, will you say sorry?
Are you right, sorry? Excuse me. Are you right? Sorry.
Off the road, please. Off the road. Off the road. Off the road, please. Off the road. Off the road. Run off the road.